Welcome to my Herald of Thunder build. This is my Magicka Sorcerer for no CP PvP. This build is based around doing a lot of damage while also bringing a lot of utility for your group play. Without that kind of utility, you're not going to be able to take keeps a lot of time because a lot of people don't put in the skills that you're going to need. So let's jump into it. Alright, let's talk stats. Big thing first, dumping a lot of stats into Magicka. We have 32,000 Magicka, about 19,000 health, and about 10,000 stamina. Now, we'll get back to the health and stats on why this is actually okay amount of health. Normally, you're going to want about 22,000 health, but we get away with it on this build. Spell damage, we're sitting at about 2,700, and about 30% critical. These are really good. Unbuffed resistances, you're looking at almost 13,000 spell resistance, 11,000 physical, and about 2,500 critical resistance. As far as spell pen, you're almost at 5,000. Alright, getting into sets. Our first set is our body set. It is a 5-piece Bright Throat's Boast, all impen, all tri-stat. This is going to give you a nice boost to Magicka and Magicka recovery. Our jewelry is going to be a 3-piece, which is unusual, I know, but bear with me. Blessing of Potentis. So at all times now, we get the 5% damage reduction from players. And our ultimate's going to cost 15% less, which pairs well with the Sorcerer passive to get another 15%. Now, our rings are going to be Magicka recovery glyphs with swift traits, and our necklace is going to be an infused spell damage. Moving on to our weapon, it's going to be a 2-piece, which is going to be a willpower staff on both bars. The back bar is going to be a lightning staff of willpower, infused weapon damage. This is just pretty standard setup. Front bar, we're going to go Nirnhone, shock damage. And finally, our monster helm set is going to be impen, tri-stat, Malik, Keenan. Which I know is kind of an odd choice because everyone always thinks, okay, with Malakina, you're going to get that extra 8% cost in your abilities whenever it's going off. But there's no cooldown on it, so as long as you're triggering it as soon as it comes up, you basically can keep this up at all times, which is another 560 spell damage. That's a lot. And you have such a good recovery that you don't notice that 8%. So, I mean, with this set, folded out, you're getting, between the 1-piece and the 2-piece, basically 689 spell damage. That is a massive amount of spell damage. That's going to help your Endless Fury do even more when it procs for that secondary condition. Alright, going into our skills. Our first skill on our front bar is Hardened Ward. Now, the reason you want this on your front bar and not a back bar is you always want this available whenever you're in your fight. You don't want to be like, oh crap, I need to switch my back bar to get my shield. No, it's on there. And this is the bigger shield strength for you. So, I mean, 60% of your max health. This is how you become tankier, and then with Potentis giving you an extra 5% damage reduction, you actually do pretty well. Next up is Crystal Fragments. So the reason we go with this one is when it procs, it costs less, and it's instant, and it deals more damage. So we're only really casting this when it procs. You can cast it and hard cast it, but it's got a cast time of 1 second, which means you're not doing a whole lot of other things in that time. Endless Fury, this is your bread and butter for this build. You are spamming this. It's pretty cheesy. A lot of people won't like it. They're going to be like, oh, you're just an Endless Fury spammer. You're being cheesy. You know what? If it works, it works. Who cares? You know, if you're not the dead person, you're not the dead guy. The other guy is. So this one, when they fall below 20%, it's going to do a big chunk of damage, almost 10k extra. This is going to execute a lot of people. If they die within 5 seconds of it, you also get Magicka back. You actually get 2 casts worth plus some back. That is a great stamp. Then we're going Inner Light, Full-Time Major Prophecy, and Max Magicka. You get that 5% plus an additional percentage from the Mage's Guild line passive, so I think it's like another 2%, so you're at 7% extra Magicka. That's a nice chunk. Followed up by Bound Aegis. You're not really using this. You can use it for an extra block mitigation on when you're holding something and a bomber comes in. Extra 40% is not going to hurt, but oftentimes with bombers, you're going to die anyways. You can use it to help block ults. That's really good, but again, 8% max Magicka, and you get Minor Resolve, which is really good in helping you boost up your defenses. And then finally, Suppression Field. You really just want this because it is such a good ult. It is probably the best ult in the game. Nothing compares. Negating wins PvP fights, especially larger fights when you're doing guild versus guild. Can't tell you how many times you see this. Other guilds will spam it. I mean, I can think of days where we get like 7 plus negates in one fight between like all the different people, and then it's back up. Now, as you can see, my ult only costs 164. That is what the 2 15% reductions do for you. That is going to be up so fast. It is insane how much this is up. You can get this up 2 to 3 times in bigger fights. That's an advantage for your group. On our back bar, we've got Defensive Rune. This is always just a good, easy one. If you're going to get ganked, this really stops a lot of gankers because they're not good enough to get all their attacks in one little volley. If they auto-attack and it hits, they get stunned, and they aren't able to kill you. By that time, you've already procced up and defensed up, and you're ready to kill them. Boundless Storm, really good. Major resolve for physical resistance and spell resistance. It deals a little bit of damage, and it gives you Major Expedition for a couple seconds. You cannot underestimate how good that is. It also detects invisible people when you walk over them, so that's always hilarious too. Critical Surge, this gives you Major Brutality and Sorcery, which is great. Then you don't need it from a potion. Dealing critical damage also heals you. We've got a 30% chance, so that means about 1 out of every 3 attacks is going to heal us for 3,300 health. That is a chunk of our health. This is really strong. Can't go anywhere without Streak. Bread and butter on a Sork. Can't be blocked. Stun. It costs a little more. I think I can get about 5 or 6 casts without even using a potion on this build. That is insane. Here we come up to a flex spot. Siege Weapon. Shield is what I put. This is also a really strong ability to keep on you if you're going to siege a keep. It makes doing a ram easier, and it's going to make it a lot easier to take the keep. If you don't have this, chances go down. And then finally, your other ultimate, it's a flex spot. You can use Storm, you can use the Shooting Star, you can use the Storm Atronach. Really, it's up to you what you want to put on there. You can put a heal. If you instead don't want to backbar a Willpower Lightning, you could backbar a Restro Staff and put a healing ult. This one is really up to you. Use it as you want. I actually double bar negate just so I never cast anything else, and I can tell you that has saved my group more times than I can count, and it's actually surprising how much I like doing that. Let's talk about races. Again, you're just going to be making up for what some races do better and others do worse by changing up some of your glyphs. What I run myself is a high elf, extra spell damage, max Magicka, and it's really just strong overall. Alternatively, you could run a Breton, a little bit more on the recovery side. You might be able to switch your glyphs over to spell damage glyphs in that case for your rings. Just as viable. Another good choice is Argonian. This is just really good for no CP PvP in any build because the resourceful passive is just going to be, hey, when you drink a potion, you basically get half of a tri-stat potion. That's really strong. It can't be overlooked. In CP, it's less needed, but in no CP PvP, it can be a bread and butter race. I mean, there is nothing wrong with just making everything an Argonian. You may not get as much out of other parts of their passive, but you're going to get a lot of that, and you're going to have a lot more survivability. Your 2 all-arounder races, Dark Elf, Khajiit, you can pick either of these. They're going to be really good. They're both going to do pretty well no matter what they're doing. They're both really well-rounded. They bring in stats, damage. Yeah, there's nothing you can't say about them that's not. They're just good. I wouldn't recommend any of the other races, but hey, you could make a Nord, you can make an Imperial. It really doesn't matter. The amount of change that's going to make on your build is minimal. So play what you want. Alright, as far as Werewolf and Vampire, I don't go either on these builds. You might be able to work in some Vampire skills, but I really wouldn't recommend it. There's not a lot that you're going to be wanting with the range you should be sitting at to fight, and with Werewolf there really isn't anything you want. If you want to play a Werewolf and you want to be a Sork, go Stamp Sork. Alright, for food there's really only one option. It's Witch Mother's Potent Brew. Bright Throat's Boast needs a drink, so you're going to run this for the max Magicka, the max health, and the max Magicka recovery. You are also going to get more max Magicka and Magicka recovery from your Bright Throat's Boast. This eliminates out other options that are foods that are normally used that are more expensive, like Clockwork Citrus Fillet. So really, just make Witch Mother's Potent Brew, and you're going to be okay. Alright, let's talk about potions. So, funny enough, this build does not need spell power pots. Why? You've got your access to Major Prophecy, and you've got your access to Major Sorcery. These are up all the time. Don't use them. What you're going to want? Tripots, health, Magicka, stamina. Always good, no matter what the build. And then, of course, a movability pots. And this is 2 in 1. You're going to have a health Magicka knockback effect one. You're going to have a health stamina knockback effect one. And finally, if you really want to fit it in there, and you've got the space for your quick bar, stealth detection pots are always great. You can use those on any build. And then, of course, invisibility pots. These two are kind of just like, in general, use them on any build. They're great. Alright, so that is my Herald of Thunder build. It is really great for no CP PvP. If you run this in your guild, you're going to be a popular guy, gal, or non-binary pal. You're going to do a lot of damage, you're going to bring a lot of utility, you're going to have a lot of fun. Usually when I run this with my guild, I'm topping the damage, I'm topping the number of kills, I'm topping killing blows. It's just a lot of fun to play. So I hope you try it out, I hope you enjoy it, make the tweaks you want to make it your own. Feel free to ask me questions, and as always, feel free to subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell to get updates on when I send more videos out. Additionally, you can come watch me on Twitch or get on me on Twitter and ask me questions there. And we're going to kind of end it here with a little bit of video of this being played in my guild.